She is suing Tiger Woods for $30 million. She wasn't married to him. Somehow, she thinks she's entitled to $30 million, which is just so ridiculous. She says Tiger promised to support her and live her in the house for at least 5 more years in return for services. What does that mean?
Do you think that a girlfriend should be entitled to money and almost like spousal benefits just because she was a girlfriend?
No.
So Tiger Woods has had a girlfriend for the last 4 or I think maybe 5 years, ever since the infamous golf club incident. She's saying, I guess, breach of contract because he had promised her that he was going to let her live in one of his estates, because it's not a house, for 5 years. And so he's not honoring that promise, but it wasn't written down on paper, or it was just an oral promise. Have you seen what the house looks like?
No.
That's right, you don't know anything about it.
I don't know anything about it.
This is what the house looks like.
Wow. That's one house?
Give us one house.
Jeez.
She is saying that he promised that she could live there for 5 years after they broke up.
Wait a second. So they had this they had this oral agreement while they were dating. So she knew they were going to eventually break up.
I guess so. I guess she was making
Or she just said, like, if we ever do,
I guess she was
I need to live here for
yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
And he said, okay.
I mean, anything can be said okay when you're in the bed. Especially if you're trying to get something.
So
maybe this agreement was made under duress. And the thing is that even if he said yes, maybe he was saying yes under duress. Maybe, you see what I'm saying? So what if he had gotten into an argument and she was like, I'm going to leave, but you got to promise me something? Isn't that even an agreement under duress? Even though the oral agreement, from what they're saying, is probably not going to hold up. But still, I mean, if he even made that agreement under duress, I mean, would it stand up in the court of law?
none of it is going to stand up in court of law.
I don't know. I think she's going. I think.
What if he says, "I never said that"?
I know, and but basically, I think what he's saying. And so, but even though she did bring up a lawsuit, they're probably going to settle for something.
I wouldn't even do that if I was him.
I wouldn't do it either, but they're probably going to settle for something. Actually, I think they already
She's
gave her
not
something.
entitled to anything.
Well,
Maybe if I was Tiger Woods, I would maybe pay her to leave me alone. If that's maybe what.
I think he did that.
Yeah,
I think he did that.
What
but
I would do too, because she seems like she's a little off her rocker.
So Tiger's people, evidently, not Tiger, convinced her to pack her suitcase for a short vacation without Tiger, and they drove her to the airport, and then she claims that the locks were changed, but they put her up in a luxury resort, gave her enough money for a new residence, and see you later.
Did you see how big that place was? Mm-hmm. How many locks did they have to change in 30 minutes?
Yes.
How many doors?
I can't believe she fell for that.
But, I mean, I don't even know if I even believe that. Like, how many doors are in that place? Like, I mean, really? They
Maybe
had
she
a whole
only
team?
had the key to one or two.
But still, yeah, she didn't just magically leave a door unlocked somewhere. I mean, this isn't a state. It ain't like, I'm gonna guarantee you that not all those doors are locked in that house. I'm gonna guarantee you that. At no time they probably have guards. It's probably a gated community. All those doors, especially white people who don't like the locked doors, I'm pretty sure not all those doors in that house are locked. So she probably could have made her way back. She probably knows the patio door in section number 5 of the house is always unlocked.
She was white?
Yeah, she was white. Of course. It's Tiger.
It sounds like she saw him as like her ticket to the rest of her life, and it didn't pan out. They didn't get married, and she's like, okay, fine. Well, then we're not going to be together, but you owe me.
They had a non-disclosure agreement, but she says it's not enforceable because of a new federal law that invalidates those if there's sexual assault or harassment. I'll be shocked if she doesn't make some allegation of harassment or sexual assault. I bet you she does. I bet you because that's the only way she gets around this NDA federally.
I would imagine the only thing with the NDA is that she would be able to speak about things that went on in the relationship with Tiger, which means that she can make money off of telling things. Right. You see what I'm saying? While she was with Tiger, with the NDA being in place as of right now, she can't make any. She can't talk about anything, so she can't make any money. So I don't know how much you bet that she's going to claim something. If she doesn't get the $30 million,
She'll find a way.
she'll
to get
find
something.
She obviously doesn't want to go back to work.
So she's still on vacation, or I mean, she probably needs to find somewhere to live.
They gave her a place to live, from my understanding. Obviously, if she's been with Tiger, she hasn't worked in
Right.
4 or 5 years.
It strikes me that he probably told her to leave and she wasn't going to leave. And then he says, okay, then we got to get her out somehow. The proper way to do this actually would have been for him to give her written notice, and she won't leave, right? So then you file an eviction on her. So if it's a tenancy at will, she's got like 2 weeks to leave. And then if she still doesn't leave, then you go get an order from the court and you have the sheriff enforce it, and then you get her out that way.
Why do you think he probably didn't want to do it that way?
Because it probably would have gotten ugly.
Usually when you give someone a notice, it gets a little dicey at that point in time, because at that point in time, that person knows that you are in the process of trying to get rid of them and kick them out, but they still legally have possession of your residence for a couple weeks. And then if they don't decide to move, they can have possession of your residence for another month. So altogether, it's almost like 6-7 weeks that they'll still be in there rent-free, basically doing whatever they want to in your house, which means they can be kicking in walls, they can be breaking windows, they can be terrorizing your place. And here's the thing. The thing that he was thinking in his mind, he's probably got stuff in there that's probably priceless, and she probably knows he's probably got vases in that house that are probably worth thousands of dollars. You know what I'm saying? And even though Tiger makes so much money, I mean, things still matter to people. And so he's probably got pictures on the wall, probably worth $50,000-$80,000. What happens if she gets a notice? She ain't got no money. She don't have anything. And so she can tear up stuff for the next couple weeks and be sending him pictures and photos of stuff she's tearing up. And what is he gonna do? He gonna sue her? What's he gonna get? She ain't got no money. That is probably why they tried to do it the way they did to get her out. So here's the thing. She probably already caused some type of damage in the house already anyway. And so, but if she's thinking that she was going to be able to live there for a little while and basically was probably having friends over, and she was probably trying to keep it as nice as possible, but she probably had a plan, because if he had asked her to leave already and she refused to leave, that's already a sign that you're going to have trouble out of someone if you give them a notice.
You picked a good one there.
But I don't know.
That's an expensive mistake.
So it seems like with these athletes, they're very good at what they do as far as, you know, playing sports and things. They are very bad at picking women. Mm-hmm. There needs to be an agency out there that vets women for athletes. There really needs to be. There really needs to be an agency where they go ahead and vet the women for the athletes. They go ahead and get the NDAs. The NDA goes through the agency, and it takes all liability off the athlete at that point. At that point in time, if there was an agency out there like that, they could probably rake in millions, because hey, he's a client, you can't sue him. If you sue, you got to sue us. And on the books, we're a business, and we only keep so much funds in our business, and we're an LLC, and you know, we're limited liability. You can sue, but you're not getting much from us. But athletes notoriously seem to be terrible at picking women. I would say if this goes through, I think they said that Tiger's wife, when she divorced, got $100 million. Now, she was deserving of that because she was wife, had kids. But if this lady gets anywhere like $20 million or $15 million, in the last 10 years, that has been, every year that Tiger has been in a relationship, it has cost him $11.5 million. They say it's cheaper to keep her, but